Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga at the Fayetteville Public Library. My name is Jess, I will be your instructor tonight, and my student will be Lori. We have a couple of exciting announcements to make this week. Starting next week, you will be able to attend this class in person. There is a limited number of students that will be able to attend in person, but we will have the live stream available for that viewing as well. You can sign up for the different weeks on the Facebook or the event page of the library. So yes, check out the library event page, sign up for Monday starting next week, and you can be in person with us here. So today we will get started on our backs, but I wanted to just call out a few props that you can grab. We're gonna do a little bit of heat building in the beginning just to make sure our bodies are warm, but we're also gonna take things a little bit slower just because it is a Monday. And I know for some people that can mean a lot, and for others it doesn't mean anything at all. So I have a couple of blocks here that I'm gonna use for support to help bring the ground closer and just help elevate things. I also have a yoga blanket here as well for some support underneath my knees or underneath my seat bones. I usually have a chair here as well that can be used for balancing. So if you have anything and all the things and you want to grab all of that right now, do so. And then we will get started on our backs. Always this way. All right. So take a second to just get down on your back after you've grabbed your props, grabbed your water, grabbed your mat, rolled everything out. Settle into your space. You can plant your feet if that's more comfortable on your low back this early in the practice, or you can extend your legs long in front of you to let the earth hold you just a little bit more. You can keep your gaze soft, or I invite you to close your eyes to deepen your connection. Start to notice your breath. Not passing any judgment right now, just taking notice of the inhales and the exhales. Winding down at the end of the day, we still want to have some awareness here as we go about our evening, go about our night. So tonight when we move in our practice, move everything with intention, being mindful of any injuries or any ailments or just any spots that may feel a little bit sticky. You can place one hand on your belly and one on your chest to further that connection with your breath. Feeling the rise of your belly as you inhale. As the breath travels up through the throat and exhale out the mouth. Take a deep breath in through the nose one more time. And exhale, sigh it out. Try that deep breathing on your own. You can release heat throughout this practice by letting your exhales release throughout your mouth. I invite you to let whatever may come to you during this practice to make its way to you, and then you acknowledge it and let it go on its way. Connect back to your breath if you find your mind wandering. Connect, or this time set an intention for your practice to help you stay grounded as well. This intention can be one like I suggested earlier, where you just move with intention, placing each body part where it seems fit for you, and just taking what I say as a general guidance, general suggestion. We're going to take a few seconds here just to do some breath work together. We're going to work on sama breath, which means equal parts, same length. And so to do this, you're going to make the durations of your inhales the same as your exhales. So we're going to inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Try that a few times on your own with your own breath duration. On your next breath, start to bring some movement back into your body. Maybe if your feet are planted, extend your legs long down in front of you. Take a good morning or a good evening stretch to stretch everything out on your inhale. And exhale, relax everything down. If your eyes are closed still, slightly blink them open just to help you gain some awareness in your space. And then slowly start to either rock and roll or sit up on your bottom, and we will come to an easy seat position. So here, this is a great time to use some props as well. You can sit on a block, you can sit on a blanket like Lori's going to demonstrate to help elevate your hips, just to give you some little bit more room in that area. I'm going to sit cross-legged, but feel free to take any cross position or any seated position that's comfortable for you. So starting in this cross-legged position, just take connection with your seat bones and your fingertips outside of your legs. Sit up nice and tall, extending through the crown of your head. And on your inhale, lift your arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, take your right hand over towards the right. Left hand reaches up and over, taking a side body stretch. With this side body stretch, you can ground down through your left hip as you extend and reach over. You can press the ground away with your right hand to deepen that connection as well. And take another breath here. And exhale. Inhale, both arms back up towards the ceiling. And exhale, take it towards the other side. Left hand plants out beside you. Right arm reaches up and over. Try to keep that right hip grounded to deepen that side body stretch. And if it's comfortable on your neck, you can take your gaze up towards your hand, but be mindful here that that is a little bit of twisting. And on your next inhale, come back up towards the front of your mat. And exhale, take it towards the right side again. We'll move a little bit quicker here. Inhale, reach up towards the ceiling. And exhale over towards the other side. Inhale, extend up through all your 10 fingers. And exhale, take it towards the right. Inhale, forward one more time, over towards the left. And inhale, come back forward. This time, exhale, twist gently towards the right, taking your right hand to the outside of your left knee. We're not forcing this twist here, so just placing your hands on the outside of your knee to give you that lift in your spine before twisting will help relieve some of that compression, so be mindful of that. Take another inhale, and exhale, maybe twist just a little bit deeper, taking your gaze over your right shoulder. Inhale, both arms back forward. You can reach them up towards the ceiling. Take your gaze there if that is inviting to you. And then exhale, twist towards the left. Right arm to the left knee. Left arm behind you. And remember to breathe. Inhale through the nose. And exhale out. Inhale, facing forward. We're going to move dynamically through those movements. Exhale, twist towards the right. Inhale, forward. And exhale, twist left. Inhale, forward. Exhale, twist towards the right. Inhale, forward. And exhale, twist towards the left. One last time here. Inhale, forward, keeping those shoulders down away from your ears. Exhale, twist right. And inhale, forward one more time. And exhale, twist towards the left. Inhale, forward, just placing your hands on your knees to rest here. Maybe you've lost some of that integrity with your spine, but just shake it out, roll it out, sit up nice and tall. Take a deep breath in and exhale. You can roll over your feet. We're going to come into tabletop. If you have your props, you can use them here again. You can take your blanket and pad your knees if that feels comfortable. We're going to be here just for a minute, getting some more warmth into our spine. So come into your tabletop and ensure that your shoulders are stacked over your wrists, your hips are directly over your knees, your head is in line with your tailbone, and there's no tension in your neck. So you want to make sure we're having a neutral spine here. And on your inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, lift the tailbone, come into your cow. Exhale, round the spine, press the mat away into cat, bringing your chin towards your chest. Inhale, dropping the belly, cow. And exhale, press the mat away into cat. Work with your breath, and you can move in between these two poses, or you can feel free to take a more fluid approach here, moving still through these poses, but maybe rocking from side to side, getting into the hips. You can rock back into child's pose. Just take a few seconds here to do what your body needs to just get acclimated and be one and inside of your body. On your next inhale, extend your right leg back towards the back of your mat, keeping your toes planted, just giving yourself a nice calf stretch. You can rock front and back. Start to shift the weight into your left hand and your left knee. You're going to kickstand your left leg to the side, come into side plank, and open up towards the right. You can extend your right arm long, or you can keep your arm on your hip. We're going to take a few arm circles here, extending your arm forward, reaching towards the front of the room, front of your mat. Just warming up the shoulder gently. Be very careful, move very slowly here. Start to switch the direction of your shoulder circles. And if at any point there's a part that feels good and you want to stay there, feel free to do that. And on your next inhale, release out of that. Bring all four back to the floor. Come into tabletop. Inhale to drop the belly into your cow. And exhale, press the mat away, round into cat. Inhale, drop the belly into cow. And exhale, press the mat away, round the spine into cat. Inhale to your neutral tabletop and start to shift the weight into your right hand, right knee. Extend your left leg back, stretch your calf. You can extend your arms long. And on your next inhale, shifting the weight into your right hand, you can kickstand, turning your right toes to the outer right side of your mat. Extend up through your left arm, coming to this side plank. You can take your gaze up towards your fingertips or down towards your hand, or keep your neck in line, just making sure there's intention behind where you are looking. And start to take those shoulder circles on the left. And then start to switch the direction of your circles. If you went back first, now reach forward, up and over with your arm. And on your next inhale, come back into your tabletop, all four meet the floor. You're going to sit back just for a second onto your heels, just to give yourself a little break from your wrists. Roll out your wrists here. You can externally rotate them, or you can rotate them inward at the same time. Feel free to make a nest like Lori's doing. That's a good way to do it too. And then once you feel like you've warmed your wrist up enough, move any props out of the way. We're going to start moving just a little bit more. I'm going to make sure there's nothing in our way. Come back into your tabletop, neutral spine. And then tuck the toes and just hover the knees for a brief second before shifting your hips up and back. Press into downward facing dog. Straightening your legs, sending your hips up towards where the ceiling and wall behind you meet. Press down through your hands. Keep your head in line with your spine. Maybe take your dog for a walk. Or stay still. Just take 2 more breaths here. And on your next inhale, drop back down onto the knees into tabletop. And exhale, send your hips back towards your heels, toes to touch, child's pose. Inhale up through tabletop. And exhale, tuck the toes, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale back up through tabletop. And exhale, child's pose. Downward dog. Take that 2 more times. Inhale, drop your knees, come into tabletop. And exhale back, child's pose. Inhale up through tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, drop the knees one last time. And exhale, send it back to child's pose. Stay here for 3 breaths. I'm going to come up just so you can hear me. You can bring your arms around back towards your feet to give your shoulders a little bit of a release. If you want some release in your upper back, you can bring your palms to touch, bending at the elbows with your biceps down on the ground. Or you can extend your arms long like the traditional child's pose. So take 2 more breaths wherever you are. On On your next inhale, start to come back up through tabletop, or you can stay in child's pose to thread the needle, but for some it's more accessible for tabletop. So we're going to inhale, extend the right arm out towards the side or open towards the right. And exhale, thread your right arm underneath your left, bringing your right shoulder down onto the mat. Shift your hips back over towards the right. Maybe extend your left arm in front of you. Inhale back through tabletop. You can extend your right arm or just meet in our tabletop together. Take a cat-cow. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. And exhale, round and tuck the spine, come into cat. Inhale to your neutral tabletop one more time. And then extend your left arm out towards the left, maybe opening up the chest a bit more before you exhale, thread your arm underneath the right. You can extend your right arm forward. On your next inhale, start to come out of your threading of the needle and come back into your tabletop. Tuck the toes, send it back, downward facing dog. Walk your feet towards your hands, the top of the mat. You can tiptoe, hop, step, however you want to get there. And just hang over your legs in forward fold. In this forward fold, we're lengthening the backs of our legs. So in a way, your leg bones are shooting up through your pelvis, and your pelvis has a slight tilt to help elongate the backs of your legs. You want to let your head hang heavy, and maybe have a slight bend in the knees. On your next inhale, halfway lift, bringing your torso up in line with your hips. Maybe your hands are on your shins. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift one more time. And exhale, forward fold. This time, inhale, slowly rise up one vertebrae at a time. You can bring your hands to your hips or keep your arms down long. Head is the last thing to come up. And once you arrive, roll your shoulders up, back and around, and down your back. So come into whatever traditional mountain pose you would like here. I have my feet about hip width distance apart. You can keep your arms out to your sides. Bring your hands to heart center, or maybe find connection with your hip points. That sometimes can help find some grounding as well. On your next inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand, come up high mountain, reaching your arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, swan dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, come up high mountain. And exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Take another breath in here. And exhale. Inhale, reach both arms up towards the ceiling. Grab your right wrist with your left hand and take a side stretch over towards the left. Ground down through your right foot. I should have said this earlier, but I like to teach this also with a block in between your legs to help you find that connection. A lot of times if we try to take a side stretch, we send our hips over to the right as well. So keeping that block in between your feet will help you really make sure that you're grounding down through your left hip and we're getting that side stretch up in the thoracic spine. Take another inhale. And exhale, slowly release. Switching that grab, you can grab your left wrist with your right hand and take a side stretch over towards the right. And grounding down through your left foot. And if you have a block or books in between your legs, just slightly squeezing that for that activation. And inhale, come up to release. And exhale, release your hands down by your sides. Roll your shoulders up and around, shake it out. If you have that block, keep it there. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Yeah. And exhale, this time twist towards the right. Same thing goes here. You can kind of get a little bit more awareness of where your hips are when you have something in between your legs when you twist. So you want to make sure you're pulling your right hip forward, left hip back. Inhale, extend up through the front, reaching forward, and exhale, twist towards the left. Same thing here. We tend to open up our hips with our twists, but if we really want to feel that twist in some of the upper back, send your left hip forward, right hip back as you twist through the thoracic and cervical spine. Inhale forward, and exhale, twist towards the right one more time. Inhale forward, and exhale, twist left. Inhale forward, and exhale, you can release, swan dive forward, remove that block on your way down, and it will meet in forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant both of your hands. You can step it back into plank or modified plank on your knees. Exhale, lower down through your chaturanga or knees, chest, chin to scoop it up on your inhale. Come into baby cobra. Keep those elbows pulling in. And exhale, lower your face down towards the mat. Inhale, pressing into your hands, come back, baby cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, baby cobra one more time. And exhale, press it back through tabletop. We'll meet in downward dog or child's pose. If you are in child's pose, come back up through tabletop. Meet us in downward facing dog, or you can actually stay in tabletop. I'll show that. On your next inhale, extend your right leg up behind you. If you're in tabletop, it'll reach straight back. And then start to bend your knee, stack your hips. If you're in tabletop, you can open your hip up to the side, just the same way you can in downward facing dog. Start to take hip circles here, bringing your knee in towards your chest, rotating and bringing some motion into your hip. And then make sure you switch the direction of those hip circles. On your next inhale, sweep your knee towards your nose. Step of your foot through in between your hands. Come up to high crescent lunge. Inhale, both arms up towards the ceiling. I'm actually going to teach it both ways. We'll do high crescent lunge over there. I'm going to come down to low crescent lunge, just to give you guys some more options, depending on where you are and what you would like to do. So inhale from your high crescent lunge, low crescent lunge. Make sure there's a tuck in your pelvis. You'll feel that in the front hip flexor. Take a breath in and exhale, twist towards the right. Opening your left arm towards the front, right arm towards the back. And inhale, come forward. And exhale, open twist towards the left. Right arm forward, left arm back. Inhale forward. And exhale, take your hands to frame your foot, plant your hands and extend your torso over your legs. We're going to come into a pyramid. Bringing your back foot in a little bit, folding over your front leg. If you have blocks, this is a great time to use them. Getting some lengthening behind the right hamstring here. And inhale, start to halfway lift just to give a little bit of breath. And exhale, forward fold back over your leg. If you have those props, move them out of the way. And then we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Feel free to take a vinyasa through your plank, chaturanga. Maybe upward facing dog this time. Exhale, downward facing dog. Same thing on the other side. So inhale, extend your left leg back behind you. And then bend your knee. If you're in downward dog, stack your hips. Start to make those hip circles with the left leg. And then switch the direction. Inhale, bring your knee towards your nose. Exhale, step your foot in between your hands. And inhale up either to low crescent lunge or high crescent lunge. If you're in high crescent lunge, your back heel is lifted. So this is a balancing pose, so you want to make sure that you are lifting up through your feet, grounding down through your front foot. Your left knee is stacked over your left ankle. And these alignment cues will just help you find better integrity with the postures, but as always, listen to what your body needs and what it can do. On your next inhale, extend your arms up just a little bit more, and exhale, twist towards the left. Same concept here like we did with that block, squeezing those outer hips, and inhale, forward. Same tuck of the tailbone on the right side to feel it in the right hip flexor, open twist towards the left, the right. And inhale, forward. Exhale, plant your hands to frame your foot, straighten your front leg, and bump that back foot up to come into pyramid. Folding over your left leg this time, lengthening through the leg all the way up through the tailbone before folding. Take an inhale to lift, and exhale, fold, maybe just a bit deeper if that's inviting to you. After your next breath, start to come out of this pyramid pose and step it back through low lunge. We will meet in downward facing dog. Take a vinyasa if you wish. Take another breath here. Inhale and exhale. Right leg goes high, three-legged dog. And exhale, sweep your knee in towards your nose, step your foot in between your hands, come up, high crescent lunge. All meet in high crescent lunge. Arm options here. You can put your hands at heart center, your hips, down by your sides if you wish, or up above your arms, but just make sure you drop your shoulders away from your ears. On an inhale, we're going to lace the fingers behind our backs and start to straighten that front leg, staying still lifted on that back ankle. Be careful with the front knee. Exhale, take a little bend back into your high crescent lunge. Inhale to straighten. And exhale, back to your high crescent lunge. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And exhale, open up to warrior two. Spin the back heel down. Right knee is still stacked over your right ankle. Same thing here. Inhale, straightening the front leg. Arms go up high above head. Exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale to straighten. Exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, back into your warrior two. This time, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, come into peaceful reverse warrior. And then exhale, cartwheel your hands, come into low lunge. You can keep your right knee lifted or drop your back knee. If you do have your knee dropped and want to take a quad stretch, you can reach back for your left foot with your right hand. You can always place a block underneath your left hand to bring the ground closer as well. Take a breath here. Take a few breaths here, actually, because this feels pretty good. If you have that quad stretch, slowly release your foot, staying in that low lunge. Take your block, if you have it, place it to the inside or outside of your right foot. And we're going to come into triangle, like coming from the ground, so you really get grounded all the way up. So tuck your toes, start to spin your left heel down and develop and open up into triangle. This way you get your hips in line, like there's two walls in front and behind you. So we opened up the hamstring a little bit in pyramid with a deep stretch, and now we're here in triangle, revisiting that again. On your next exhale, cartwheel your hands down, placing a bend in your front knee. Come back through low lunge, and we'll meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg goes high. And exhale, step it through, place it in between your hands. Come up to high crescent lunge. My feet are on opposite train tracks, as I like to say, so you don't want your feet in line where your hips are too close, but you also don't want them too far apart where your balance is just kind of all wonky like that. So with your feet about hip width distance from myself, just think about opposite tracks there. Tucking up the tailbone. And then interlace your fingers behind your hands, start to lift the chest, straighten the front leg, keeping that back heel lifted. And exhale, come back to your high crescent lunge. Inhale to lift. And exhale, high crescent lunge. And inhale one last time. Exhale, high crescent lunge. Reach your arms back up towards the ceiling on an inhale. And exhale, open to warrior two, facing the right side of your mat. Inhale to straighten, bringing your arms up high above your head. And exhale, press it back, warrior two. Inhale to straighten. Exhale, warrior two. And inhale one last time, gathering that energy. And exhale, straighten. Inhale, flip your palm, reverse your warrior. Tip it back. This is also a good side body stretch, so we don't want to collapse back into our extended warrior. Really elongating that left side. Exhale, cartwheel your hands to frame your foot. Come into that low lunge. Drop your back knee and reach back for your right foot with your left hand. Grab a block or books for your right hand. If you have that block, place it to the inside or outside of your left foot. We're going to come into triangle. Pressing into your left hand, tucking your right toes. Spin the right heel down and open up from the left ankle, left shin, left knee, left hip. And then extend up towards the ceiling. So there also is a little bit of a tuck here in the pelvis too. The right hip is going back, left hip is coming forward. So keeping that integrity, like I said earlier, with those walls in between your torso and your back. Sorry, your front side and your back side. Exhale, cartwheel your hands. Take a vinyasa, and we will meet in child's pose. Take 3 breaths in your child's pose. Feel free to take any motion here, either stretching your arms out to the right and left for further side stretching, taking your hands, like I mentioned earlier, up by the nape of your neck, or your hands back by your heels. On your next inhale, press it back through tabletop. Press up into downward facing dog. And then just walk your feet up to your hands, and we will meet in a forward fold. Inhale to roll up slowly, 1 vertebrae at a time. And we're going to do a little bit of balancing now. So like earlier when we grounded down through our feet, taking awareness of when our hips shift from right to left. Keeping all of that in mind here with your hips pointed forward. You're going to inhale, reaching both arms up as your right leg reaches up as well with your knee bent in line with your hip. Come into marcher pose. You can keep your hands here. Put them at heart center, or your hips. And just find something to focus your gaze on to help you maintain that balance. Now, if your foot's not up this high, that's totally fine. You can also place your foot on a block, a book, couch, wherever you are. Play around with your balance. If you wobble, that's fine. And then start to bend your knee, crossing your right foot over your left. Come into figure 4 chair. Bring your hands to heart center, getting into that outer right hip. Inhale, come back up through marcher. Exhale, sit it back, figure 4 chair. Now this is a lot of balancing, and I know that it's not always easy for everyone, but play around here, test your balance, and just move between those 2 balancing postures. And then inhale, bringing your knee back to marcher. Exhale, plant it back next to your right. Shake out your legs. Come back into mountain pose. And inhale, extend up, reach up to marcher on the left. Exhale, come into your figure 4 chair. And feel free to just stay here if this feels good. Or like we did on the other side, play around with those 2 balancing postures just to extend and lengthen and release that hip. Before you exhale, plant and sit it low. And one more time, inhale, high marcher, and exhale, figure 4 chair. Inhale to come out through marcher and exhale to plant. You can shake your legs out. If you had a block in front of you, move it out of the way. And then inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. We're just making our way back down. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, you can step it right back into down dog or take a vinyasa. Coming down onto your knees, come into tabletop just to swing your legs around. And we're going to come down onto our backs. Or actually, no, we're going to stay seated first. So from a seated position, we're actually going to bring both of our feet together for a little bit more hip opening. Come into bound angle. If the soles of your feet aren't together, that's fine. You can bring the heels together and open up the insides for a little bit deeper hip opening, but just stay wherever you are here. You can take some blocks to the outsides of your knees, or an option to forward fold for an even deeper hip opening. I'm going to stay right here today, but feel free to explore, try what works for you. On your next inhale, if you are folded forward, slowly start to roll up and come up into a seat. Take your hands to the outside of your knees and slowly bring your knees together. Still staying seated, move your props out of the way, put your hands behind you, send your feet wide. Take a few windshield wipers seated to really get into the inner hips and the outer hips. Feel free to stay on one side. I find when I do this, I start to move forward after I do too many. All right, after those windshield wipers, we're going to come into pigeon. I'm going to just offer two different ways to come into that. You can do the traditional pigeon where you can come and enter from downward facing dog, or you can do this on your back. I actually have you demonstrate the normal way, and I'll do the back. Okay, so Lori's going to show the traditional way. You can bring your foot closer to your left hip to give you a little bit more accessibility there. The other option is on your back, like I mentioned right here, where your right foot is crossed over your left knee, and you're pulling your left thigh in towards your face. If you are in the traditional pigeon like Lori, you can work with your breath here to start to forward fold over your leg, bringing your forehead down closer to the mat, but still keeping that integrity in your hips. Your hips are pointed forward, and you'll feel that release in your outer hip. So just hold there if you are in the traditional pose, or on your back, interlace your fingers and pull your leg in towards your chest. And just breathe. Inhales and exhales. If you are on your back, plant your left foot back on the mat. Extend your right leg up towards the ceiling and plant your right foot next to your left. If you are in the traditional pigeon pose, you're welcome to just press it up through your hands. Lift your left leg away from the mat, come into plank, downward dog, child's pose, or you can bring your left leg around. Yeah. I like to offer more than one suggestion because I know everyone's body moves different. So move carefully, like we said, and then come into pigeon on the left side. Your shin does not have to be parallel with the front of the mat. Sometimes, depending on how your hips are feeling, it is better to actually have your foot closer to your right hip. So find whatever position is comfortable for you. If you have a block or a blanket, you can place it underneath your left hip for some support. And then start to forward fold, coming over your front leg. If you're on your backs like me, cross your left foot over your right knee and interlace those hands, pulling your right thigh in towards your chest. You can also keep your foot planted and gently press your left knee open towards the side. On your next inhale, start to slowly come out wherever you are on your back or in a traditional pigeon, and we're all going to actually meet down on our backs now. Grab a block or a stack of books on your way there. And then once you've made your way down onto your back, keeping your feet planted, bring your heels closer to your tailbone, and press down into your feet, lift the hips, come into bridge. You can take your block and place it underneath your hips for a more restorative posture, or you can work with your breath and use your inhales to lift your hips up towards the ceiling, exhales to lower. Keeping your neck long with your head extended still on the mat. Wherever you are, take a couple of breaths. Deep inhales through the nose and exhales out. If you are in a static hold of bridge, ensure that you're bringing your chest towards your chin to keep your neck long, and not necessarily your chin towards your chest. Lifting your hips up towards the ceiling. And exhale, slowly start to lower. Remove that block underneath your hips. And pull your knees in towards your chest. Rock from side to side just to give yourself a little lower back release and lower back massage. On your next inhale, pull your knees in towards your chest, and exhale, send your knees over towards the left, coming into a reclined twist. You can go right or left. We're facing different ways, so that can be a little bit confusing, but whatever way, we're going to do the other side. If it's comfortable on your neck, take your gaze over towards the opposite side. And inhale, pull your knees in towards your chest, take your twist, and exhale to the other side. Inhale, pull your knees back in towards your chest. Feel free to take any final postures. I'm going to offer two. You can reach in between your legs, come into happy baby, bringing your thighs to the outsides of your hips. Or you can do my other suggestion, which is waterfall, which Lori is demonstrating. You can place a block or blanket underneath your hips. You can play around with both. Take a couple of breaths here. When you're ready, start to make your way back with your knees in towards your chest. Pull everything in tight one last time. Bring your head up towards your knees, squeeze everything into a tight ball, and exhale, release down onto your mat to come into Shavasana. You can take the traditional Shavasana on your back. You're welcome to take this with your feet planted, knees knocked in, or maybe flip over onto your belly. Just find whatever resting final posture is the most comfortable for you. Relax everything down. Relax your face. Relax your jaw. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. If you have time and would like to stay in Shavasana just a little bit longer, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we're going to come up now, extend your arms up above your head, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Take that good evening stretch one last time. And exhale, release. Start to roll over onto your favorite side, come into a fetal position. And then slowly start to roll up, come up to a seat. You can place your hands on your knees or bring your hands to heart center. I just want to say thank you from all of us here at the library, and we hope that you had a wonderful practice, and we enjoyed practicing with you. Have a good night.